First up, extremely important I start right here, okay? Listen, for any of the newbies in the market, you're in your first year or two of investing, right? Quit going crazy over short-term stock price moves. A lot of you guys lose your mind over these short-term stock price moves, right? And I'm just going to tell you guys, this isn't even that extreme. If you would have got started when I got started in the market during the great financial crisis, you would have seen extreme. Like we were talking stocks were going down 50, 60, 70, 80% all over the place, okay? And even some big, great companies were falling that much. If you would have got started in the market in 2022, you would have seen some crazy damage, right? This isn't even that crazy. Like it's a good drop. We're getting a really nice correction in the market, especially in certain stocks, right? But like this is not that extreme. This is not like a great financial crisis we're going through right now. This is not a 2022 stock market crash we're going through right now. This is not the 2020 crash that was the fastest stock market crash in history where the market dropped like 35% in like 30 trading days or something ridiculous, right? This is not that. Like this is actually come to be expected after a huge run in the market. And I laid this out for you guys 3 weeks ago. I did a video on this channel telling you guys exactly what was going to play out here, right? It's exactly what we're seeing play out. So this is actually pretty normal for the stock market after you've been through a 2-year plus bull cycle that had a blow off top in which, people were going crazy on margin, crazy on everything. And meanwhile, you had a president coming in who, it was, serious about tariffs and serious about cutting spending and Doge and all this stuff. That stuff's not good for the market in the short term. It might be great for the market long term, but I can tell you it's not good in the short term. And so this is to be expected, right? And remember, you're building a portfolio for the next 10, 20, 30 years, not the next 10, 20, 30 days. So stop freaking out every time stocks go down a little bit in the short term. Oh my God, oh my God. Because listen, if you need the money that bad, you shouldn't be investing. Seriously, if you need the money in the next 10, 20, 30 days, what are you investing for? You're not an investor. You're trying to gamble money around to make quick money or something like that. Like, no. Long-term investors are thinking about this. Like when I build positions out in the public account or any of my private portfolios, right? I'm thinking about where are those stocks going to be years from now, not where they're going to be days from now, not where they're going to be months from now, and not where they're going to be quarters from now. I'm thinking years down the road. I'm running projections on these companies thinking years. When I was buying into Palantir years ago, I was thinking about where this company is going to be long-term. Same thing with Tesla and Meta and Amazon and Elf and Cake and all these other companies. SoFi, blah, blah, blah. That's how you got to think. So quit freaking out. Oh my God. Knock it off, okay? You're going to see way more dramatic markets in the future than what you're seeing in front of you right now, okay? This is like normal appetizer type stuff. Second thing is here, correction and crashes. Very important you understand this. They are gifts if you're a long-term investor. I mean, absolutely gifts. If you're buying great companies, a great company, by the way, is a company that has a bright future in front of it. They have many, many years, if not decades of growth ahead in that company, right? Great financial statements, income statements, balance sheets, right? Listen, when you get a crash or a correction in the market, be thankful. That's all you got to do. Be thankful because they don't come that often. Like corrections, you might get a correction a year in the market. And as far as stock market crashes, and the stock market crash, I'm thinking like S&P 500 goes down 20, 25% plus from a recent high, right? It doesn't happen that often. So when you do, just understand you're getting to buy stocks at ridiculous prices. Like you're getting Black Friday pricing, but I'm talking Black Friday back when Black Friday was real Black Friday, right? Not like the fake Black Friday they have nowadays where it's just like, they up the price and then lower the price like $5, right? Nowadays Black Friday is not all that. And neither is Cyber Monday. Back in the day, it was good deals. And so when you're getting like crashes in the stock market, like you're getting that special opportunity to buy at just ridiculous prices, and you got to take advantage because you got to understand the most money made is that first year or two coming out of a crash. Look at 2022's perfect example. We had that crash in the market, right? S&P 500 went down, peak to trough, I don't know, might have been 25% or so. NASDAQ went down like 38%, 37% peak to trough from the 2021 high to the Q4 low in 2022, right? And where was the most money made? It was over those next 2 years in the market coming out of that, right? So if you were buying Palantir, Meta, Netflix, like go through the whole list of them, Shopify, just about anything, especially anything tech related, growth related, you made so much money in 2023, 2024. It's ridiculous. Like the amount of profits I was able to take last couple of years is astronomically high, right? And that includes even into the beginning of this year when the market was still kind of moving up in January, right? So the moral of the story is don't fear these things. Don't fear crashes. Don't fear corrections. Understand that they are the best opportunity for you and take advantage. Take full advantage. Third thing up here, listen, you gotta understand how trailing 12-month P's work, how forward P's work, how 2-year forward P's work, and how growth rates work, and how that can affect if a company is undervalued, overvalued, if you're paying a fair price for a company. You got to be able to run projections on companies. And I have the whole projections tab on 1000X for a reason, and we're about to put up advanced projections, right? I had that for a reason. And it's because you've got to be able to run projections on a company, a bullish case, a base case, and a bear case, and be able to look at all three of those cases and be like, I'm more than happy to invest my $100, $500, $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, whatever the amount of money is, into this company at today's price, because based upon where I think the PE should be for this company in this industry, based upon the growth rates, this is where the stock's going to be valued 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 6 years from now, likely, right? That's how you got to play this game. People that got into big trouble here recently in the stock market, they didn't understand trailing 12-month Ps, forward Ps, 2-year forward Ps. They didn't understand how to run projections. They didn't understand growth rates. And so they were loading up on these stocks in January and February at ridiculous valuations, while investors like myself were taking profits, right? And I was warning people countless times, including that video I did 3+ weeks ago, right? About like these valuations are ridiculous on many of these stocks. And you're going to get smacked hard because you're buying many of these stocks at ridiculous valuations, right? And a lot of people didn't understand that. And so they're just loading up because they're like, it's the hot play, it's going up, right? Loading up, then they're margining out, they're buying call options, and now their call options have expired worthless. If they were loading up on margin, which a lot of them probably were because margin just hit the highest number on record back in January, right? They've gotten margin calls now. They've gotten wrecked, like literally wrecked. And I'm not talking about like, oh, market went down, so they got wrecked. No, they got wrecked. Like they lost 50% of their capital, 70%, 100% here recently because they didn't understand this stuff, right? No bueno. Here's a good example for you. And this is good for everybody watching this video right now, okay? If I say to you, company Billy Donkey has a forward P of 25, okay? Has a forward P of 25. The expected revenue growth is 6% per year over the next 5 years. The expected net income growth is 9% per year over the next 5 years. Is this stock a good deal or not? If you cannot intelligently answer that question right there and be able to give me a case about, here's kind of why it's a good deal. Oh, no, it's not actually a good deal, and here's why. If you can't give me a educated answer on that, you need help understanding this stuff, because that's a pretty easy one to kind of figure out there and start running numbers. And then you got to know the right questions to ask. So the questions I would ask, if I was able to ask questions on that, I'd say, well, what type of industry are they in, right? I'd say, well, what type of risk factors are there with a company like this? You got to know the right type of questions to ask. I would ask, where's the balance sheet at in regards to cash and cash equivalents, short-term investments, long-term investments versus debts? You got to know the right type of questions to ask, and you got to know how to intelligently answer a question like that. If you can't, you need help, right? I got my private group for you. I'll put that as pinned comment down there today. Can help you understand all this stuff, so when you go to make an investment decision, you're educated and you understand what is likely a bad deal on a stock versus a good deal on a stock. So you're putting yourself in a situation where if you go buy a stock today, right, you're setting yourself up for success over the next few years. The short term, you can't control where the market goes short term. Like that's going to be what that's going to be. But you want to make an intelligent investment decision that is hopefully going to pay off handsomely over the next several years. And if you're buying stocks at bad prices, it's going to cost you more money than you can ever imagine. And if you're buying stocks that are at very attractively priced, you're going to make more money than you ever dreamt over the coming years, right? That's the name of the game. So once again, I can help you with all that. I got it all laid out in all those courses, teach you everything I know up here that I've learned over the past, 16 plus years. Number 4 thing, you cannot control if Wall Street is buying or selling stocks, okay? You can't control that. And they're the ones that control if the stock market goes up or down. If Wall Street wants to start dumping out of stocks en masse, if the hedge funds start dumping stocks, and the pension funds or whoever, right, the big money, the ones that are controlling tens of billions, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars, the market's going down. Stocks are going down. There's nothing you can do about that. At the same time, if hedge funds and everybody wants to buy and buy and buy, the market's going higher. And that's just as simple as that. You are a little fish. You're a little fish. You cannot control this market at all. I'm a little fish. You think about me, you think about, oh man, Ferrari, and he's got all the cars, and he's got the big house, and he's got rental properties, and he's got all that money and all those portfolios. I'm a little teeny fish. Listen, if I had $1 billion in my investment accounts, if you added up all my investment accounts and I had $1 billion, which I don't, but if I did, I would still be a little fish. I would still be a little fish. Because you got to understand, these hedge funds have tens of billions of dollars of assets under management. Hundreds of billions of dollars of assets under management, right? These pensions, I mean, it's ridiculous. These mutual funds. Then you go to the index funds. Listen, the market's going to do what the market's going to do in the short term, right? But long term, we do know the market goes up. The market goes higher, right? But the short term, it's a whole mess. It's a whole mess you got to go through, okay? And so you're a little fish out there. And so how do you eat if you're a little fish, right? When you've got all these massive sharks out here and these whales and things like that, you got to beat them to the food. You got to beat them to the food. You got to understand, the big whales, they're very slow moving. They're very slow moving. And they're not that smart. I hate to break the news to you. They're not that smart. Listen, if these guys were that smart, would they have been selling off all the big tech stocks at any price they could sell off in 2022 and dumping Meta under $100 a share and dumping Nvidia at, since that time has gone up over 10x, right? Would they have been dumping all those big tech stocks at those prices? No, they wouldn't have. They're dumb. I don't know another way to put it. They're not intelligent. The whales are not intelligent. They're slow moving and clueless. And you go look back at every single time. If they were in the know and they actually knew what was going on, do you think they would have been dumping stocks and had the fastest stock market crash in history back in March of 2020? No. They would have understood, if they were really in the know and they really knew what was going on, they would have been buying, not selling. They don't know what's going on. The majority of hedge funds has been, data done. They have trouble beating the S&P 500. They can't even beat the S&P 500 for the majority of those guys. That's pretty sad. If you're spending all this time, on this game, you better be doing better than the S&P, especially over a 5-10 year span. And they can't even do that. So beat them to the food. They don't know what's going on out there, but they get caught up eventually. And then when they finally do find the food, it's intense. And it's an eating fest, right? So for instance, these Wall Streeters selling off Palantir down to $5, $6 back in 2022, right? Then all of a sudden they start to catch wind of the story and what's going on there when the stock was a little over $20, and they gobbled up shares all the way to $120, right? And they're like, oh, I get this now. Nvidia, right? Nvidia, they couldn't understand it. They didn't know what was going on. And then when they came to buy Nvidia, boy, did they come to buy Nvidia. And that's why you see all of a sudden a stock go up a 2x in 6 months. And you're like, how is this stock just went up 2x in 6 months? And the story hasn't really changed. Well, the whales finally started to understand what was going on there, okay? And so for you to eat as a little fish, beat them to the food. Get your food first, okay? Because when they come to eat, it's going to be intense, okay? They're slow moving. They don't really know what's going on. But when they finally get it, it's like, oh, light bulb goes off there, right?
Hey, it's Jeremy. I hope you really enjoyed that clip here today. Listen, there are 3 main areas a long-term investor has to understand. You have to understand financial statements, income statements, balance sheets, cash flows. You have to understand and master portfolio management. And you have to have the ability to project what is possible for companies in the coming years. Bearish scenarios, bullish scenarios. All these skills can be learned, and that's the good news. And I'm still just a regular guy who's out here. I just have a lot of passion for the market. I've learned a lot over the last 15 years. I had a tremendous amount of success, and I have a dedication to teaching people everything I have learned in the past 15 years. If I can do it, you can do it too. You can learn all that's required to become a great investor in my private group. The application is going to be down there in the description area. You can click on that, fill out an application, join us in the private group, get access to all my best course curriculums, teaching you everything that I got in my head, and you get ability to join our 6-figure, 7-figure Hall of Fame. We have such a tremendous Discord. It is incredible. So once again, description area down there, there's a link. You can apply to join my private group in there.
Alrighty, first up here, I have no money to buy stocks. I went all in the market. I always hear this, right? It breaks my heart because it's such an easy problem to fix, right? Such an easy problem to fix. What is the number one most important thing I tell you guys to be a successful investor in the stock market? What's the number one most important thing over everything? I bet you there's at least 50,000 people watching this video right now that are going to know exactly what I'm about to say. More income than expenses. Before you ever worry about the income statement and the balance sheet and the cash flow and the P ratio and the forward P ratio and the price to sales ratio versus the peers and blah, blah, blah. Before you ever worry about how to value a company on 1000X and running projections, before any of that, more income than expenses. It's such an easy problem to solve. And I have yet to meet one person in this world, and I've been poor, I've been on food stamps, I've been middle class, I've been part of the 1%, and nowadays I'm part of the 0.1%. And I have yet to ever meet one human walking this planet that could not do more and get more income or cut expenses. Not one, including myself. There's way more things I could personally do in my own life to make more money. And there's way a ton of frivolous, ridiculous expenses and things I spend money on that if I really wanted to cut budget, I could. There's no one watching this video right now that couldn't do more when it comes to income and expenses. So it's no excuse. There's no excuse in regards to that, okay? Secondly, you should never really go all in the market, especially at times when the S&P is near all-time highs. That's just not something you should do. You should always keep a certain amount of cash around. Me personally, I keep between 10 and 30%. So when the market gets very highly valued, when forward Ps get very high in the market in general, and I have trouble finding good deals, I go more cash, right? When there's certain time periods when the S&P and the NASDAQ are getting wrecked, you're going to see me invest very, very heavily. And I still won't go all in the market, but I get pretty close at least then, right? So for instance, the fourth quarter of 2022, I got really low as far as cash levels go. I mean, really low as far as cash levels went. Why? Well, the S&P 500 was getting smacked every day. The NASDAQ was getting smacked. Meta stock was under $100. Tesla stock was around $100 a share, right? Every stock you could think of was obliterated. And so it made sense to buy, right? So you should never really, truly be all in the market. And don't ever put yourself in a situation where you have more income, where you have more expenses than income. Always have more income than expenses, because then you're not scared of the market going down. If you make more than whatever you're spending each week or every other week, or at least once a month, you're always in a position to buy. So you don't fear drops in the market because you're like, it's fine. Like I'm buying. Do I fear more market drops? No. Why? Because I always have more income than expenses. And that's the same thing I've had since I started in this game back in 2008, 2009, when I was making $8.50 an hour, all the way to being part of the 0.1%. The same freaking game plan has gotten me to this point today. The same game plan. And you can literally emulate this exact game plan. More income than expenses. And you're always in a situation to buy stocks. You don't fear it. You welcome. You're like, sweet, send stocks down. I would love to buy for cheaper. I got $1,000 this next week. I'm ready to buy $1,000 worth of stocks. Let's freaking go, baby. Like send blah, blah, blah stock down to whatever price. I'd rather buy more shares for a cheaper price, right? Do you need it? Does your ego need it that bad that you need your portfolio to say a certain number this week? I hope not. Otherwise, you might want to see a psychologist. We might need to do a little work on you, okay? We need to do a little work on you if your ego really needs it that bad that you got to log into your portfolio and see your Robinhood account, your Fidelity account, your TD Ameritrade account says blah, blah, blah price. Come on, man. You know, if my public account said $2 million tomorrow instead of $3 million something, fine. If it said 1.5 million, fine. You know, whatever. Like, my ego doesn't need it, okay? All right, I got enough confidence in plenty other areas of life that I'm like, whatever, okay? And I know where the portfolio is going long term. It's going to $10 million long term. $10 million. So whether it says 1.5 mil short term, 3 mil, 5 mil, it's all irrelevant. It's going to be an 8-figure portfolio someday. You got to have a longer term vision here.
Hey, it's Jeremy. I hope you really enjoyed that clip here today. Listen, there are 3 main areas a long-term investor has to understand. You have to understand financial statements, income statements, balance sheets, cash flows. You have to understand and master portfolio management. And you have to have the ability to project what is possible for companies in the coming years. Bearish scenarios, bullish scenarios. All these skills can be learned, and that's the good news. And I'm still just a regular guy who's out here. I just have a lot of passion for the market. I've learned a lot over the last 15 years. I had a tremendous amount of success, and I have a dedication to teaching people everything I have learned in the past 15 years. If I can do it, you can do it too. You can learn all that's required to become a great investor in my private group. The application is going to be down there in the description area. You can click on that, fill out an application, join us in the private group, get access to all my best course curriculums, teaching you everything that I got in my head, and you get ability to join our 6-figure, 7-figure Hall of Fame. We have such a tremendous Discord. It is incredible. So once again, description area down there, there's a link. You can apply to join my private group in there.
Listen, what did I tell you guys in the video last night on the reaction channel? I don't know if you guys watch my reaction channel as well. Jeremy Lefebvre Makes Money, right? I talked to you about something I've seen from people out there where, you know, they say they're all in the market and things like that. And I always tell you guys, the number one most important thing for you to be a great investor in the market is you got more income than expenses each month. If you have more income than expenses, you win, right? Because all this drama, Doge, tariffs, blah, 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 it's here today and it will eventually be gone, right? And you want to be able to take advantage and buy up stocks and continue to build out your portfolio regardless of the environment, right? And so you want to set up your life where you always have more income than expenses so you can win in this situation, right? And you're able to buy on all these dips here. It is so, so important, right? And if I look at like the public account, right? I mean, the public account goes up, it goes down, it goes all around, but it's a drama situation, right? But the bottom is make more money, right? And, you know, I always have a view of the public account someday is going to be $10 million plus, right? If you ask me where the public account is 6 months from now, I don't know, $2 million, $4 million, $3 million, I don't know. And honestly, I don't care because I believe if I look out 5-10 years from now, the public account is going to be $10 million plus. It's going to be an 8-figure portfolio, right? And I do that for all my portfolios. I look them over and I think about where is this portfolio likely to be valued long term. Short term, it is going to be what it's going to be, right? And I can't control where the stock market goes in the short term. Neither can you. No one can control where the stock market goes short term. And people can try to predict and say, oh, stock market's going to fall 60%. You know how many times I've heard that since I've been on YouTube since 2016? Stock market's going to fall 60%, 50%, whatever, 40%. You know how many times I've heard that? Again and again and again, year after year after year. And it's no different this year. And get those people, oh, stock market's going to crash 60%. Like every year. I'm going to get it next year and the year after and the year after. At the end of the day, no one knows. No one has any clue where the stock market's going in the short term, right? I mean, you know, I might have a decent understanding of where things are likely to play out. But still, at the end of the day, even I can't predict where the stock market's going, where the S&P 500 is going to be 6 months from now because there's so many different variables there. What if this whole Doge situation, yeah, they're cutting jobs, doing this. What if it actually doesn't really affect the economy? What if these people get jobs in the private sector and they actually become more productive? Like, that's a potential. I'm not going to bank on that, but it's a potential. And what happens if this causes a recession where unemployment goes to 7%? Like, there's a million variables there, and I can't control what happens there, but I can control building out my portfolio, adding the stocks every single month, right? I add stocks every single week, but you got to be in a position where you add stocks at least once a month. Continue to build out your portfolio bigger and bigger and bigger. There's a lot of great companies out there. Make your portfolio stronger, portfolio that can get through whatever. You know, Tariffs, Doge, blah, 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 inflation, my portfolios make it through the other side. Even the 2022, where the portfolio got smashed on, right? Made it out to the other side and got to see brighter days, right? And so that's the name of the game, guys. You just got to make it out to the other side in regards to the bear markets. And then those bull markets, you thrive, right? Remember, if we went back to late 2022, the public count was a $1 million portfolio. And today it's over $3 million. And that was 2.5 years ago, right? Not even quite 2.5 years ago. And so, over the next 6 months, who knows? Like I said, the portfolio could be 2 million, 2.5 million, 3 million, 3.5 million, 4 million. At the end of the day, the portfolio is going to be a $10 million plus portfolio long term. And that's all that matters in the end, right? Alrighty, guys, appreciate you joining me as always. Thank you so much for being here. If you're looking to access my entire library of premium courses like Become a Master Stock Market, Millionaire Playbook, Stock Options Mastery, Dividend Investing Mastery, Financial Statements Mastery, my Valuation Mastery course, as well as access my private Discord chat, the stocks I'm buying and selling, my $3 million plus Fidelity account each week, as well as if you want access to our full suite of tools such as 1000xstocks.com, pin comment down there. Fill out a form, see if we can get you access to that. Let's call it later on this week or maybe this weekend, okay? Alrighty, guys. Much love as always, and have a great day.